Hi there and welcome to Essential Oil Talk Radio with Marc and Nikki. If you're frustrated with trying to manage your health and are looking for real information that challenges status quo, you're in the right place. Our special guest today is Christa Smith. Christa is a very successful entrepreneur with annual sales in the 8-figure range. She's a loving wife and mother of 15 amazing children who call her Super Mom. She has authored the book titled Live Beautiful, 7 Secrets to Building Your Home and Business, and is frequently invited to speak at events with as many as 30,000 attendees. That's pretty amazing.
Awesome. Krista, welcome. We're
Thank
so happy to have
you.
you here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So hello and welcome everyone to the show. So I was in Houston last weekend, right? I did this whole beauty school event. It's with Young Living. It was my first time, and there were so many amazing women there. And we were talking about beauty products, right? And did you know that on average, a woman who buys her cosmetics over the counter puts about 500 chemicals on her face alone, just in one day. That's every single day. And then something else that kind of triggered me a little bit, that 61% of all lipsticks on the market actually contain lead. So what? I was like, what the heck, right? So I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty sure that's not good, right? So we put it on our lips, we lick our lips, we're drinking from our cup, we're ingesting this stuff. So it's not good for
Or
us.
you kiss your husband and hello, now you're poisoning us. Thank you.
That's a great idea.
Or your kids,
I'm
your
kidding.
pets.
Yeah, something I have never ever thought about. And y'all know I'm in real estate, right? So if someone's going to purchase a home that's built in 1978 or prior to, they have to sign documentation after documentation that they are aware that there could be lead in their home. They have to even sign that they're aware that there could be lead, like chips have fallen off the house and landed in, and it's in the soil. So if you're planning on planting a garden there could be lead in your vegetables. Like, that's how intense that is. That's just for buying a home. But this is stuff we put on our face intentionally every single day, right? Because we know we're putting on lipstick. So that's definitely something that I think needs to change. I mean, we think about our daughters. They're following us.
I was just thinking about mine.
Right? And
Or the 2-year-olds that just, totally color their whole face with it.
that's right.
That's true.
Or
They
eat
get into
it. My
mommy's
kids
purse.
eat my lipstick.
Oh my God.
They eat my $20 lipstick.
Why would they do that?
Yeah, I don't know. Pretty
It's
color.
funny. But if our child or our little girls see us, buying, I don't know, some makeup from the mall, but our whole life, that's what they've seen mom do.
Yes.
More than likely, they're going to do that. So it's up to us moms to make that change if we want a change for the future. I really, really believe that. So
Yeah, and my daughter, she's wearing makeup now. She's, doing the whole eye stuff. Well, she's using the Savvy makeup from Young Living because it doesn't have the harsh toxins in it that are going to, cause problems in her body. And so I'm excited about that. As parents, we like to watch our kids play with makeup and do all that kind of stuff. Have fun with it, dress up, look pretty, and all that. Don't come out looking like a clown and expect me, Daddy, to take you anywhere. I'm just saying, you got to practice with it. Listen to what Mommy has to say, but we get there.
There is a skill.
There is a skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if they're like Brooke, my daughter, she may think she knows, but when she comes out, I'm like, no, let's let Mommy tune that up just a little bit.
there you go, right? Less is more.
Yeah. So I want to get to know Christa Smith. You've got an awesome backstory. I've heard you speak once in person, and I've watched some of your videos because you're all over the internet. And I'm super excited to have you on the show. And I'd really like for our listeners to get to know you just a little bit.
Sure.
How did you get introduced to essential oils? Ultimately, Young Living, obviously, but I love this part of the story. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mark, for having me. And Nikki, you guys are leading a great movement of really training and educating. And I want to say thank you to all those people that are tuning in to your show because you are really taking them to the next level. So let me just back you up a little bit. Before I got started, I was failing in every way, in relationships, financial, my body was failing, my spirit was failing. We were living off one income. We both went to college, got our degrees, did everything that we were supposed to do conventionally, and we found ourselves very much strapped. We were raising children, and that's a long story why we have 15 children. That's kind of a longer story for another day. But it's an amazing story. And so, but I found myself, I used to work for doctors. I have a degree in physiology. My dad does anesthesia. My mom is a nurse. And so medical was a very big part of my lifestyle. Like at the dinner table, we would talk about the latest and greatest. Before the laws came out, we couldn't talk about anything. We would talk at the table about, whatever was happening in the emergency room. And so as a little child, I just grew up listening to all these stories. So when I was working for physicians and raising babies, actually making humans, which is a huge superpower. I mean, that's not why my kids call me super mom, but making a human is a big deal. And it's bigger than any marathon, bigger than anything your body can humanly, ability to do. And so I was doing everything anybody would tell me to do to get health in my pregnancies. I suffered from high blood pressure during every pregnancy, had to be induced. And so here I am on I guess around this time when the oils came around, or even my business came around, I was on my 11th pregnancy. I had juiced, I had gone to energy therapists, chiropractors, I had done IV vitamin C's, I had done all kinds of herbs. Anything anybody would tell me to do, I would do. High doses of fish oil, carrot juicing, all kinds of things like that. And I found myself still just broken. I find things would work for just a little bit, and then it would stop working. I don't know if you've ever tried something and it's like, oh, you get really great results, and then about 2 or 3 months later, you're not seeing the same kind of, energy that you were at first, and you're not still, you're still getting, actually have to take more. So I became I dived into some research. I love learning about health and all kinds of things. But at this point I found myself, not only having high blood pressure, but I had chronic fatigue. I had every symptom of fibromyalgia. Our finances were completely, wrecked. Our relationship was suffering. Jason and I would go on a date night to Walmart, and he would push me in a wheelchair. And at this point I was suffering from EMF poisoning,
Wow.
which I couldn't even hold an iPad. And talking like this would have stressed me out, where a dizzy spell would hit me. And when it did, it was usually triggered by stress, from coffee, from my cycle, from talking, from driving, from chocolate even. I mean, take a chocolate from girl. That's just not okay, right? What a way to live. Just miserable. And I actually went into a dizzy spell once when I was driving the van with the kids in the middle of the street. And I almost had to have my 12-year-old take the car because I just didn't know how to. And that's when I really hit a wall. I thought, I have to do something different. It was very challenging. And so I got introduced to oils, and I, at this point, was so tired of wasting my time, wasting my money. I was begging for people. I was doing exchanging so I could get therapy from people. Like I would, hey, I mow your yard, I'll clean your house if you can just help me with whatever. Just looking down every mountain trying to find answers because I believe that our bodies are incredible, and I believe that we are just sometimes missing something. And if we can put those somethings back into our body can work again. And now I know that sickness is actually due to a lack of toxicity or deficiency. And if we can just find those two places, then we can actually become, our bodies are amazing. Our immune system is amazing to help our bodies restore and repair. Like my cells right now are not the same cells just, 3 months ago, because they are recycling in and out. So I got dragged to a meeting, actually, into the business, and somebody said, come on, and they didn't even tell me what it was. Can you believe that? They didn't even tell me. So they said, come on, you got to come. And I was like, what is it? Like, they wouldn't tell me.
Well, what was the motivation for, were they saying, hey, come to a meeting, their intention was to get you into a business, or was it their intention to get you to introduce to the essential oil?
They were on the same mission as I was. They were looking for solutions to help their body keep running. When you could become 20, 30, 35, 40, things don't start working the same way. Your sleeping issues, you got, even if you're healthy, you're eating right, you're doing everything right, you're still suffering from something, a lack of sleep, a lack of energy, something like that. So they were on the same pace as I was.
So it was about health.
It was about health.
Gotcha.
And their intention was to get you in there so you could buy oils.
Not necessarily. She was on the journey and she wanted to share it with me. And that's what we did.
Excellent.
We were a group of moms. I ran with a group of moms. We were all interconnected pretty much through our homeschool movement. And we just like, hey, watch this movie. Oh my gosh, you got to get this book. Oh my gosh, this best math curriculum. And this came
community.
Through. It was community.
Yeah.
And so she's like, you got to go. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I was looking for a mom's night out for, we get pretty cheap and desperate when you don't have to pay anything to get a mom's night out. Sure. And so I went in and I was just like, no way. What is an oil? Like, what is any of this? And so they had this meeting, and the only reason I said, okay, I'll try it, was because it was on sale. That was really it. I was not convinced on anything. I wasn't convinced on emotional support or any kind of health support. I didn't know all I knew was there was possibly an oregano oil, and I didn't even know what it would do or help or anything. And so I went up to them and I said, does this go on sale any other time? It's like, nope, this is it. It's the only time it's on sale. I was like, okay. And I had exactly that amount of money from some side job I was doing with homeschool community to be able to it took all of my money. I paid for it. And I went up to the lady and I said, look, will this help my daughter? Because she was suffering some breathing issues, and we were doing everything. And I knew her future was total steroids and inhalers. You know, I'd seen them in the emergency room. I knew what their future was like. And I was desperate as a mother to find a solution, to find help for her body to start working again. I knew we needed to change our diet. I knew we needed to change our exercise. I knew we needed less stress. I knew we needed better sleep. And I knew we needed better nutrition and better support. And I was looking for answers. And so she said, yes, it will. And I was like, I don't believe you. I said, okay, will this help?
So you actually said that to her?
Yeah, I
don't believe
did.
you.
I said, will this
But
help?
I'm going to pay for it anyway.
Right.
But it
I
better
was
work.
I was like, I didn't want to waste any time. I didn't want to waste any more money. I was like at the end of my rope. You know, when you throw that rope out to somebody, I was at the end of it. And I said, will this help me with my dizziness? She said, yes, I believe it will. So I don't know if it will, but it's worth a try. And I said, well, I need your address because I'm going to come find you when this stuff doesn't work.
When it doesn't work.
When it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to come find you. I'm going to come to you and I'm going to get my money back when I have tried everything possible, and you're going to help me
What
get
was
my
her
money back.
response to that?
She said, that's okay.
Okay, cool.
She didn't
Bring it.
flinch. She
knew.
did not flinch.
She knows what we all know now.
Yeah, right. That's
She
true.
already knew
That's
it.
Well,
true.
she had already had her own story and had seen a little bit of the power of getting your body right, making right decisions, right choices.
So you pulled the trigger, you got the kit,
Mm-hmm.
and then
And then,
The rest is history.
so no, well, this is funny because anytime you get dragged, you know, it's a reciprocity law, the reap what you sow. So I totally called my sister and I was like, hey, you need to get started. And she's like, what is it? I was like, I don't know, but you're going to get started. I'm not doing this alone.
wow.
And she did. So
How
there,
wonderful.
right away, I became the top 5% of all MLM marketing
Distributors.
research statistically.
Ah.
Because I was already in a relationship with my sister, and I just said, hey, I just need you to do this with me. Work this out with me.
Did you know you would get a paycheck at that point?
I wasn't even about the money. Didn't even care.
You just
about
wanted
money.
her to come along.
I
with
just
you.
wanted her to come along
Yeah.
because I wanted help. I wanted to make sure I was seeing what I was seeing. I wanted to make sure I was doing what I was doing. It was such a new thing.
Well, you need a co-pilot. Yeah, that's awesome.
It was, well, and was sisterhood, you know, like BFS. We never do anything alone. You always have to drag your bosom buddies with you.
So
I mean, it's a known thing, Mark.
one more question before we switch gears a little bit is, what was your husband's response to you buying the kit and spending that money?
Well, Mark, after about, he saw, you know, he's always a businessman,
Uh-huh.
and he saw that he knew it was a home business, and he's like, he knew instantly, it's going to cost us money.
Yeah.
It's going to take your time, and you're going to end up, you know, broke and with a bunch of samples or something. Because I had already tried several other home businesses.
Okay.
But I have to tell you, they have the best products. Those home business companies have some fantastic products, the best toys, the best kitchenware,
Mhm.
the best, you know, sealing of those foods. They have a lot of great products. And so I just knew that they were going to be, so anyway, so he came to me and he said this, what are you into now? What are you into now?
Did he say it with a smile?
No, he was not happy.
Was not happy.
And all I said to him is like, I just held up my hand and I stuck it, you know, from him to be in between me. And I was like, peace to you. I got this. Like, I will not affect our budget, because I knew you can make some money, but I just had the belief that I can make enough money just to pay for my product.
Right, and that's actually one of the first goals for folks is just, that was what we did in our house. It was, let's get the oils paid for. We want to share it anyway because we know that it works. All right, we'll get back to you in just a second.
Sure.
Let's switch over to Nikki. She's got a DIY
Yeah,
for us.
so Christa, you're talking about the products, right? The best products. And I choose Young Living because I know they're the best products. And this is my little hack for the week. It's not a tip or a DIY. This is an actual hack that I learned in beauty school. And it's from Carmody. Do you know who that is? Carmody.
I've heard the name.
She used to be on What Not to Wear. Like, she hosted that.
Huh.
And now she's a makeup artist. She's always been a makeup artist. But she talked about using the Young Living Lavender Lip Balm. You can apply it to the top of your eyelid and use that as a primer
What?
for your eyeshadow, and your eyeshadow won't run, won't flake off, the color won't change.
You know,
all
I've been
day
doing this
long.
for 10 years, Nikki, and I learned something new every single day.
That's pretty awesome,
It's
right? I was
wild.
like, that is so cool. And then I know that's a total girl thing, unless, you know, you're a guy. Mark, I don't know. Maybe
I have
you.
a
dress up
little
on the
interest in
weekends.
this because of my daughter.
Right, there you go. So that little lavender lip balm, well, it's very handy to carry with you, right? So picture yourself if you're just out and about, maybe you're fishing, maybe you're just walking or playing at the park, and you get a little ant bite or mosquito bite or something. You can always use that lavender lip balm just to soothe the area.
Oh, good.
So
Like an
that-
ointment.
That's a
Mhm.
great idea, right?
Mhm.
And then think about, if I say the word diaper rash, you know what area I'm talking about, right?
Sure.
So again, you're
I
camping.
may not know that one.
I'm sure you know it. 15 kids. I'm
15
still in
kids.
awe. I can't even imagine that. But that threw me right
It's
off
a
track.
simile line. Sorry. It's just a
The
simile line.
So you can use that same lavender lip balm if you're having any type of discomfort in the diaper rash area. And if you don't, you find yourself on vacation, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have diaper rash cream. You have that lavender lip balm. You can use a little bit of that and just use that for some comfort and some soothing. It really brings a soothing effect. So that's
I will tell you, the lip balm is one thing that I cannot keep in my home. My teens love
They're not
the lip
eating it,
balm.
are they?
No, thank goodness.
But they
We've
would be
outgrown
okay
a
if
lot
they
of
did.
that. Thank you.
They would be okay if they did.
All right, so let me get into our sponsor real quick. San Antonio Empowerment Council. They've got an event coming up here in San Antonio on Sunday, June 9th at the Holiday Inn Airport. There are going to be 2 classes there. One is on essential oils and emotions, and they have a class on understanding the Zyto Balance Personal Health Report. Tickets are available at saecevents.com. All right, so we're back to Christa Smith. Speaking of Zyto, I know that this was something that you got involved with, and I really would like, I've seen some of your videos before, and people can find them out there on YouTube, but there's a couple of questions I'd like to ask about how did you get started with the Zyto? Did somebody do a Zyto scan on you, and you were like, what is this about? Or were you at a sales pitch somewhere? How did that
that's a great
originate?
question.
And then we'll get into a little bit more.
Well, I actually found the Zyto technology in Utah at convention. They come to the convention. I got sponsored to go to convention because, again, I wasn't doing this as a business. I think this is in 2012, maybe. I don't remember the dates. I'm not very good at dates. So
Understandable.
yes, it's bad. I need my brain power more. So, but I went to convention. They were there. I tried it, and I started to really start to go, what is this? And how does this work? And so I basically learned that it's a NASA-based technology that's out of 200 modes of technologies all come together that reads certain points on your fingers and your hands. And it's quite intricate. So I actually really don't know how it works, to be honest. I just don't. I just know that the effects of it, just like the wind, is very powerful. And so I started inquiring the other friends that I had, and I asked them, do you use this Zyto? Does it work? And all overwhelmingly was no, it doesn't work. Don't use it. Don't worry about it. But at the time when I was getting started to share Young Living with anyone, the common thing was to do all-day meetings from 9 to 5, where these experts would come in and they would talk about chemistry, they would talk about research, and they would talk about all these very intricate, wonderful educational classes. And you can still get those classes. But at the time, that was the only way we learned to share, which was not a mom mode. That is something a mom cannot even attend, let alone put on, or let alone present, to have the time to put into that. So basically, Mark, I was told I couldn't do it.
Oh, and of course that challenges you.
It did challenge me. And
So your friends are saying the technology doesn't work. Are they speaking from experience or ignorance or combination of both?
I asked them, and it's funny because I actually just had somebody ask me that this week. They said, "What do you know about this?" And I think they Googled some YouTube videos and they found some stuff. And one girl had said, I have not watched them. But one of them said that, well, I'm pregnant, and it's told me I scanned for sclerostin, which is considered somewhat of a hormone support oil. But I told her, I said, but it also has peppermint and fennel in it, which is great for digestion. So you never know what you're doing. And I actually used that sclerostin Vitality in a capsule during my pregnancies. So somebody who doesn't understand the products could deduce that it's not an accurate device. And
one of the things I noticed about Zyto is it's very, very good at revealing what is going on in your body. Okay, so the recommendations, that's a whole other layer, right? Because there's different companies with different products that Zyto deals with. But when Young Living, obviously what we're doing with, but it's the revelation of what is going on with your emotions, your body systems, and so forth. That is hard to debate because it is so accurate.
Well, and you only really learn that by really knowing the product, to be honest. You really do want to research those products, understand what kind of chemical compounds are inside those oils that bring out certain good things and balance the other things. And so when you see somebody scanned for something, I'll just tell you my mom's story. She's a nurse, and she had a run-in with a semi, and she had to be helicoptered out. They put a PICC line in her. She ended up getting staph infection for 6 months, had to have a PICC line. I mean, it was life-altering. And during this time, it was a very emotional trauma time because she was taking care of her mother-in-law. at the same time who was also needing full-time support. So her being in the hospital, I was having a baby. I couldn't help. No one could help grandma. So grandma calls sister. Sister comes in, sells all of her belongings, and moves her out to California and puts her on some high doses of medication and ends up dying within a couple of months. So ramification-wise, my mother was just devastated in all ways, physical, mental, spiritually, and emotionally. So I was like, Mom, come on over, I'll scan you. And she, being a nurse, was very reluctant into oils or any kind of that way, because I understand they're very much trained on how to help you live a very successful life where you don't die. And, I understand what they train. So using an oil for something is just really challenging to their mindset. And so I thought, oh my gosh, she's going to need this and that, and she's going to need so many of these things to support her mind and her body and whatever. But she scanned for one oil. And when I looked up that one oil, and I would have never said, hey Mom, I think you need this one oil. She scanned for one oil. And I didn't know. I didn't follow her. I was like, you're going to order it. You're going to use it. I just said, hey, this says Awaken. It was Awaken oil. Awaken,
which is a blend,
which has, and I don't even know what's in it. But I didn't follow up with her. But she told me, I said, Mom, what did that oil do for you? And she said, that one oil absolutely changed my life. And here's what I know. Have you ever seen those people that walk around like the Walking Dead? They're just not home. They're just been hit with life. They have
good
been
way to say it.
Traumatized in all kinds of ways, and they're hurting, they're broken, they're brain fogged, and they're just walking through life one step at a time. And she said that one oil absolutely changed her life.
Wow. That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Nikki, what do you got for us?
Well, let me get my tissue first.
I know, right?
Thank you for sharing that, Christa.
Yeah,
so, we've been talking about the whole Dr. Mom movement lately, right? Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about something I think we've all experienced. And I know I've personally experienced separation anxiety. All our listeners, all our viewers, I think you've all been there. Think about the last time you got in your car and you're driving off and you're like, did I bring my phone? You know that little feeling you get? You're like, oh my gosh, it's almost like a panic. That's an anxiety. That's an anxious feeling. Well, going to Houston last weekend, I was starting to feel these feelings with my little girl. I'm like, oh, Mommy's going to be gone for 4 days. I've never done this. I hadn't been gone that long before. And I was getting those feelings, and she was getting those feelings. And this is something that's a beautiful story to me. 2 days before I left, I was like, hey, here's the teddy bear you got me for Mother's Day. I want you to keep it while I'm in Houston. She's like, oh, I'm going to miss you so much. I'm like, well, that's okay. Look, we're going to put oils on your teddy bear. So I did orange, lavender, and joy. That's what I typically wear. And she knows that smells like Mommy, right? So that brought her comfort. And when her level of anxiety or anxiousness went up, she was able to hold on to that. I took the ribbon off the teddy bear. I took it with me.
Oh.
So her and I, we were able to smell this and think of each other.
Oh.
So that's how we're incorporating those essential oils into our life.
And I don't think we realize as moms what an authoritative, bonding, emotional thing we have. We did that with the Christmas spirit. And I wasn't creative to have a bear, Nikki, so I just gave her the bottle, and it was actually empty. And she just literally carried it. I actually had 2 of them, but she would carry it and smell it when she would be away from me when I was having babies. And she would smell it, and it would just bring her the wholesome comfort of it's almost grounding.
Yes.
And then like Marty, who's here, she actually would carry it in a necklace. She would make necklaces out of oil bottles and just wear it around her neck, and she would just smell it. And I could see her face transform. Like I'd look at her face and I'm like, Marty, have you smelled your oils? And she's like, no. I go smell your oils. And she'd come out with that joy, that inner child of happiness that your children are supposed to be walking in. Super awesome.
And we know that fragrance, it does connect people. I mean, we know the smell of our spouse, right?
Yep.
Our children. I mean,
grandma's apple pie.
A very big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we've got about a minute or so, but so you've been working with the Young Living business for a long time, or
10
for
years.
10 years now.
10 years. Well, not the business part, because that was kind of accidental. But
Right.
yeah.
So, but you have a lot of experience, right?
Yes.
I mean, you've been to all over the world.
Yes.
You've talked to a lot of folks. You've learned a lot. So give me a tip. If you've got somebody that's interested in sharing essential oils, what would be something like for somebody just getting started? For me, I would say simplicity, right? Let's keep it simple and duplicatable, right? But from your experience, what piece of advice would you give somebody?
Oh, it's so easy. You just make a friend and just go, here, try this peppermint. I don't know if it's going to work for you or not, but this is how I use it. Just try it out. And that's it. That really is so simple.
Yeah.
We make it so complicated.
We do, right?
It's so easy.
Yeah.
Literally, you just make friends. And if you're not making friends, then you're not growing as a person anyway. And so I feel like being in a home business makes me the best mom, the best wife, the best leader I will ever become.
And the best friend.
And the
right?
best friend.
That's Great. All right. So if people want to connect with you, let's give us a good way for folks to do that.
Well, the book I have is Live Beautiful, and it's on Amazon.com. Everybody knows where Amazon is. Sorry.
Right.
And then
What's
my
that?
website is Christa and Co. Christa and Co. And there's a newsletter there that we are in contact with. But I also run a Facebook group called Wonder Mom, where I actually do videos for in the home and I give scripts on how to talk to your children. I give scripts on how to deal with your husband when you're angry with him. And I teach on how I do business with my family, because it is a family business. Like my children I don't call them children anymore. They're almost adult children. Some of them.
Right.
I still have some small ones. My youngest is 4. My oldest is 23, and she is married, and the others are still at home. But they run the business with me and for me.
Wow. Awesome. All right, Nikki, we got, do we have a winner from last week?
You know what? I actually did a drawing while I was in Houston
Uh-huh.
because I was with a whole other group of people, and they went to our website and to our Facebook page, and they made some comments, and I picked Miss Judy Walker, and she actually won this little coffee mug gift set, which is something you can only get at Beauty School. So congratulations to Judy
What?
Walker. And if you want to be next week's winner, then all you have to do is go onto our Facebook page, comment, like us, share us, tell Nikki how amazing she's doing. It boosts Mark's ego a little bit. He likes that.
And
You
tell
can
him
catch
he's not
us-
wearing red.
He's not wearing red,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're in salmon. It's
Like
salmon.
salmon. And then at EO Talk Radio, that's for Facebook, or you can catch us on YouTube, Essential Oil Talk Radio, and then, of course, our website, eotalkradio.com.
Yeah, and if you want to connect with us directly, you can email us at Marc, M-A-R-C, or Nikki at eotalkradio.com. All right, as we wrap up, do you have any parting words or anything you want to say? I know having you in studio was awesome. It's very dynamic. It's a lot of fun, and I think I learned a few things here today, and I really enjoyed our conversation. So thank you very much for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me, you guys. I'm really very thankful. I'm new to San Antonio, so I grew up in pretty much Oklahoma, and we moved to the hill country here down in San Antonio, and we're excited.
Perfect place. Welcome.
Thanks for coming in.